concept as a train on a track. Except imagine that, we just had these essentially train-sized vehicles that were just driving freely on the highway alongside regular vehicles. It wouldn't work out very well, and it's the same sort of thing. It's like self-driving cars could theoretically be safer than drivers, of course,
It
but
only
that's
works
only
if
if
they can talk to each other.
everybody is self-driving. Yeah, it's
We need those freaking solar roadways so they can just link up to the hive mind.
yeah. Maybe Elon Musk will build those underground LA tunnels he's been going on about for the
What
past
is the
half
point
decade.
of those tunnels? It's supposed
Yeah,
to.
is he?
Is it supposed to? Is it the? I've heard about the maglev thing getting installed in California. Is that what it's
Yeah,
for?
that's what he was talking about. He was saying that he wanted to have essentially, from what I recall, magnetized underground roadways under places like LA, and his given reason for the reason that he publicly stated for why he was inspired to do this and to try to seek a solution, make this
Cat
happen,
girls.
is because he's tired of the traffic. It annoys him, and so he's irritated enough by the traffic that supposedly that's his inspiration for wanting to develop.
I mean, if there was one place where you could get away with it, California is the only state long enough to get away with it.
Yeah,
From San Diego to what's the other side of the country or state? Sorry.
I don't know, dude. I cannot, like,
There's
to me,
LA and
California
San
is
Francisco. I
California,
think
and
those
that's
are on the
it.
both ends.
I couldn't
What
tell
about
you
Las
what's in
Vegas?
SoCal and what's not.
Huh? Was that Necro?
What about Las Vegas?
Las Vegas, unfortunately,
Mm,
outside the strip is not much to see.
Because I
yeah.
thought that was the main reason for the highway. Or no, there was
That's the
there
main
was
reason for the highway. Yeah, back in like the 50s.
no there was they were gonna make a bullet train, like one like the type they have in Japan. Those
Yeah, maglevs.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, on one hand, I don't know. I don't know enough about this subject to really have an opinion on it because I've been thinking about the public transportation and bullet trains and stuff for a while. And I live in a place that's pretty rural. So, there's basically no public transportation. I mean, I don't know when the last time I've even seen an Uber or a taxi, let alone a bus or a train. I've never seen a subway in my life. And so, to me, when I think about it without any experience, I go, okay, I could imagine that it could be very convenient to have really nice public transportation like they have in a lot of European places in Japan, etc. And I wonder how feasible is that with how big the United States actually is. And so,
I mean, we had trains do pretty
yeah,
much
that's
everything for the
exactly
longest ass
that's what I'm
time.
wondering. Would it be economically and logistically feasible to essentially have something like the way trains were with the Intercontinental Railroad and the 20th century, but with modern bullet trains and stuff instead?
The
You know,
problem
where
with
where
bullet
people where
trains,
people would catch, like, travel from one part of the state to the other part of the state with high speed trains instead of long bus rides or road trips. I don't know.
the
Is that feasible
main
whatsoever?
restriction with maglev technology is it has to be a straight line. There can be no curve. You will shoot off that thing.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? Because
Yeah, it has to be a straight line, which you could fill a box. You could make a box of maglev systems for a
actually,
handful for the corners of the country. That's doable, but past that, it's not feasible to try to
yeah, and
angle
there's also
anything.
talk, and now there's also the talk, of essentially private atmospheric flights from one part
Private
of the
flights have
planet
always
to
been a
another.
bullshit thing.
To me, it doesn't seem super extraordinary. It seems like it would be egregiously expensive, though. Like, it's one thing to say that we can have essentially high atmosphere or low orbit shuttles that can easily go from one part of the planet to another and, within an hour. It's another thing to make that available to the average person wanting to travel or whatever.
The problem is, I think the main issue with that is fuel consumption.
Yeah,
Like, until we get to a
because
point where we can find something that burns more power, gains more power, and isn't a limiting natural resource that we need for every other fucking thing on the planet. This has turned into a podcast now, by the way.
pretty much. I mean, again, like I said, it pretty much is a podcast. But like I said, I've never, unless you count, I guess, unless you count traveling on a plane once. Yeah, I've been on a plane once when I was a little kid. And I don't remember if I've ever been on a train or not. I was so young that I don't know if I just made that memory up. But unless you count having been on a plane when I was like 5 years old, I've never taken public transportation in my life. So I don't know the first thing about public
Well,
transportation.
as someone who lived in New York, where we had great public transportation,
Yeah, it
you're
seems
not
like if you
missing
had
much.
really
They're
good public
plastic
transportation,
seats.
it would be a boon. But
To be fair, I was able to get across the city for $1.50 to go to classes, and I could merge. I could get a transfer slip from my car. Actually, that's how I was able to get it for $1.50, which is less than how much I would have spent on the amount of gas I would have spent if I got in a car when I lived in New York. A train's a nice little luxury thing. I took it once to go into the city, but it was 4 freaking hours. But it was faster than driving.
yeah,
But you have to stop at every stop.
yeah, I think the most populated place I've ever lived in was still a place where you generally had to go over a town or two if you wanted to get anything that wasn't fast food or groceries, or maybe some clothes. And even then, you usually did anyway. Until, I'll put it this way: the the most exciting change I can remember in the town that I used to live in probably a decade or more, is when they finally built a Walmart in the town.
Jesus
And then suddenly
Christ.
you didn't have to go over, a couple towns in order to get
That's where
something.
Walmarts
And of
need
course,
to
I've
go.
always been yeah, and I've always been a no life nerd, so I was always going to various game stores and electronic stores and things like that, which means I always had to go. And I remember I would shop at game stores the way I would always get impatient about when I was a kid, whenever my parents or whoever would take a long time picking out clothes or groceries, because it was such an ordeal to go out of the way to go to one of those places that whenever I'd go, I just spent a couple hours perusing, because I know it's like, it's two towns over is the nearest game store, and it happens to be, the smallest branch of a chain or something. The only time I've ever seen a local game store in that town, there was one that ever existed in that entire town. And after like a year and a half or something of being there, it moved on to the big city instead. So it was rough.
Well, that's the problem with game stores is they're technically niche.
Yeah.
Dying breed.
No, well, according to GameStop, they're essential, bro. They're
Well,
essential retailers.
that's a big definitor. Are you talking about game stores or video game stores? Because that's a dividing line.
Yeah, it is a dividing line, and thankfully, I didn't have to worry about dividing it because we had neither.
Like, I didn't even know tabletop game places still existed till I looked a few up.
Yeah, I mean they're
They're few and far between, but the ones that are there have their audience.
they're usually pretty dedicated. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think there might be one in the town I used to live in now. I've heard that there's one. I don't know, but I don't know if it's a tabletop game store that sells, actual array of tabletop games. I think it is. It could also just be like a little Hobby Lobby type deal, where by tabletop games they mean like, we sell model airplanes and Monopoly. So I don't,
We
I don't know
sell
if it's one of
darts.
those. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, um, that town was. I'll put it this way: it went from being, again, the only real attractions were grocery stores and fast food places, it suddenly had this local game store that also happened to deal in Magic the Gathering cards, and so
Oh dear
suddenly,
God.
out of the woodwork, the only other place people in that town ever went that were into those things was the local library. So suddenly, out of the woodwork, everybody comes to this local game store, and it blows up in business, and everything is great. People are congregating there, and then suddenly they're like, "Yeah, we could do better in the city." Until they move out, and everybody that used to congregate there disperses, and everybody crawls back into their holes in this little small town because nobody else around does the same stuff or is interested in the same stuff. And
It
so,
feels like as long as you're making a profit, why would you leave?
yeah, maybe. I mean, granted, I'm not a business owner, so maybe they were having an issue, or maybe they're maybe
Well,
they,
damn, did
for
no one show
whatever
up?
reasons, they needed more. But I don't know. It struck me as, it kind of irritated me at the time because I was like, this town has needed something like this for so many years, and it blew up in success when you finally came here, and then now you're just gonna leave because you can make more money being, local game store number 370 whatever, and the biggest city in the state. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate that. And now
All until
everybody
Lone
that used to
Town
gather there
Jim
are
goes
gone.
to the Nintendo tournament and wins himself a golden copy of Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah,
Whatever the
and
hell that movie was.
all I know is I've never heard of the place since it moved to the city, and that town, as far as I understand, has nobody that's in the games congregates anymore because they have nowhere to go except for maybe the library, which I think shut down all their programs for that. So,
That's bullshit. Why the hell would a library ever shut down programs?
well, they might have. I don't know, but I think it was because it was one of those things where they had programs for usually like teenage programs, maybe a couple young adult ones, but I think the issue is that they were willing to pour the resources into having like game nights for teen years. But whenever you move past that and the people that have graduated and people that are young adults, they don't want to pour their resources into that because maybe they think it's weird, or maybe they
What
think
resources? You're a library.
Hey,
You
I
hold up a
have no
table.
idea.
hey,
But all I know is
Charge
they moved in.
$5 at the
Look at
gate.
any library. Look at
listen,
any library, and you'll notice this. Whenever the
listen.
teenage years are stuff that young adults would be
I
interested
know.
in,
I
like
had the
video
same
games and
problem in
movies
my
and all that.
town.
But for some
Listen,
reason, there's no
guys.
YA thing. It's like,
You want to know why? Because if you're playing D&D silently, you're playing D&D wrong.
no, I mean,
We're not
the
even
library
talking
had
about
separate
D&D.
rooms. The library had an anime convention at the library one time. They're okay with,
Dear
yes,
God.
yes, they are okay with having stuff like that. The issue is that you'll notice this. I guarantee you, check any library, or maybe not any, maybe all the places I've lived are different, but any library, all of the cool stuff is for grades like 6 through 12. Even if it's stuff that young adults would be into, they lock it. They're like, if you're out of high school, you're not coming here. And then it immediately transitions. It's like, if you're 17 or 18, then you can have, we have game nights, movie nights, we have all this congregating stuff, different actually interesting um, activities, hobby stuff. And then if you're 19, your options are like, you can knit, and you can work on your family genealogy, and here's our true crime program. It's like,
You can knit. What the
what
hell
is
is
it?
going
Yeah,
on in
that's
your
the
town?
cutoff. That's the cutoff. It's like, if you're a teen in a small town with a library, you can have fun because of library programs. As soon as you become an adult, you're out of luck because now
I,
you
I
go
think
from,
the thing is the fact to separate the minors and the adults, because it will be kind of weird if you're playing D&D with a bunch of kids.
We're not
I
even
So
talking
absolutely,
about
That's
D and
not.
D. It's just libraries
yeah,
in general
I
always have like
It's
absolutely
only
agree
chess
weird
with
if you
that.
tournaments
make it
or
weird.
something, but they
But
won't
that's
ever
why
have
I
any shit
wish
for
that they
anyone.
had an actual proper young adult program bracket for these libraries, because they don't. It's like there's 6 through 12, and then there's 19 to 80, and that's fine. I'm not saying that if you're above a certain age and you can't enjoy the things that a 24-year-old
That's
or whatever can
exactly what
enjoy,
he's saying.
but
Yeah, no, no, you can't. That's
I'm just saying that I don't think every person, when they go from being 18 to being 19 or whatever, suddenly shifts their interest from, hey, I want to play games, to, oh, you know what I really want to
no,
do?
you
I
want
want to
it.
learn to crochet.
It's
You know,
okay. It's okay, Kenji. You can
Look,
crochet.
if I learn to crochet, somebody better put me out of my goddamn misery. Because I guarantee you,
Don't
I'm a broken man at that point.
Hey,
Don't
you
On,
incorporate all
can use
Twitch
those
on your.
skills to
oh,
make masks right now.
yeah, there you go. That's a good skill.
I
Listen,
actually
man.
learned how to sew in middle school.
Sewing is
Listen, man.
different. That is not. Sewing is
It is
something with
different.
you. Yeah, that's I'm making pants. Crocheting is I've made a pillow. Why?
I had to
Not
make a
even making the
pillow vault.
not even making the pillow. I'm making embroidery for the pillow. Why? Why? No, just no. That's not useful.
Dude, all I'm saying is that I was like, I don't see why people have such a problem when they talk about how living in a small town is boring. I didn't. It doesn't seem boring to me when I was a teenager, and then whenever I became an adult, I was like, this is
Oh,
terrible.
I like it.
It's because when you're a teenager, you could do stupid shit and get away with it.
And you
When
didn't
you're
have
an
to pay for bills.
I mean, I never did anything stupid like that. It's just that there's this weird, maybe it's a small town thing. I don't know, but there's like,
I'm just a small town girl.
if you're above the age of like, depending on the small town you live in the ones I've lived in, and the ones I currently live in, if you're above like the age of 18, then you're pretty much going to be assumed that you're lumped in with the boomers. So that's
So
the people you
Kenji,
hang out with
All
now.
right, Sonny, you got two
That's
Kenji, are you
choices. You either go down to the library and
saying
learn
that you're
at
living in a
college,
lonely
do
world?
something in your life, or you go to the
I'm
strip
saying
club.
I live in Boomerville, USA, is what I'm saying.
Are you living in a lonely world?
he wants to take the midnight train.
Yes.
Yeah,
Anywhere,
apparently.
anywhere at all.
Fuckers.
We don't have a train here.
It's
Take
funny
the
because
midnight
Why
Uber.
are so fuckers?
Oh my god!
Really, let's think about it. People.
Took a midnight Uber going anywhere.
We don't have that even. I've never heard anybody calling it Uber here.
Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah,
Oh,
Uber's
it's,
what's happening.
I love how the way Kenji combats things isn't stop saying this. It's we don't have this to do that.
We don't have a train, dude. Dude.
Otherwise, I would.
Dude, I live in a place where there are still billboards over ongoing lawsuits over black lung from coal mine in Fettel.
Oh my fucking god. You're in a
Oh
dying
my
town.
god.
Have you ever seen the
Oh.
movies Wrong Turn? If not, go watch those movies. That's
I
where I
know
live.
of those movies.
No,
That's where I
see,
live. Have you played Red Dead
Kenji,
Redemption 2? You know
Kenji.
Beaver Creek and Roanoke Ridge at the top right part of the map at the end of the
Yeah.
game? That's where I live. It's literally based on the place I
Look,
live, including some of the names
Kenji.
being the same.
I can't relate to those movies because I'm black. If someone's standing outside of a town with a sign that says "turn around," you know what I do? I turn the fuck around.
Yeah.
If someone's standing
you
outside
have
with
a
a sign
brain.
that says "turn around here," you probably know. So I mean,
What happened, Steve? There's a bit of an accident.
yeah, it's
Oh
rough.
my god.
It's rough.
That
Anyway,
that was the funniest thing I've seen. There was I think it was a Vine where this black dude was driving, and he looked over, and another black dude came running out of the like the corner and said, turn around." He said, "You show right." Nope.
yeah, it's like none of the horror movies would happen. No, this is. I mean, it's not.
You know why
joke,
the
it's
old
not
trope
really a
is
bad
that the black
place.
guy always dies first? Is because they're the smart ones. They
Yeah,
would run.
we die. It's either we die first or we leave. That's
Yeah,
silly.
because if they had them be like, "Oh, what's this? Let's go check it out." Every black person watching the movie would be like, "I can't believe it anymore. I
Look,
can't do it."
Look,
Everyone
you
I've
know,
ever met in my life has said that.
No,
They're like, I'm
Hell
telling
no, I
you,
ain't checking that shit
Kenji.
out.
every person I've ever met in my life that is black has said the same thing.
Kenji,
If
because
black
here's the
people
thing.
were in horror movies, they would not happen.
Kenji, here's the thing. You know the black people who die first in horror movies? They've been hanging out around mostly white people. All right? No offense, it's just what it is. They don't have the
None
instincts to
taken.
go, let's not go over there.
Stupid
And
breeds
this
with
is why
stupid.
there's no all black horror movies, because I think everyone will be smart enough to know not
Look,
to do
that's
Are
that.
why-
you
that's
in a
why-
wind turbine? What is that?
What's wrong?
That's why I love the movie, the movie Haunted House with Dem Williams. He literally left and came back and said the only reason he came back is because he couldn't sell the house. It's the only reason he went back to that house. Found out the house was haunted. He was in the car and gone.
Yo, and I mean, all this joking about like Wrong Turn and stuff. It's not actually a bad place. It's a great place if you're
It's just
married and
boring.
have a family and want to settle
Oh.
down.
Oh, you're
you're a
in middle
young-
town America.
If you are a young man who is a bachelor and is not into sports or sports, then
To be fair, Kenji, you're not a bachelor. You're trying to become a wizard. Your words.
That's
Your
true.
words.
That's true.
It's not my words. Those are your
All I'm
words. You're
saying is,
trying to become a
You
wizard.
live in freaking the billboard for every Trump rally.
I live in a place where, and I mean this deadly seriously, I would say probably at least 1 out of 3. That's kind of a conservative estimate. It's probably more than that, but I'd say at least 1 out of every 3 people that you see in high schools around here will get married as soon as within a year of graduation.
Oh, guaranteed.
That's
Kenji, I have to
Sounds of
ask
it.
you this. Did your high school have a sex ed program?
I
No.
went to
What sex ed program?
I went to a very small private school. Like I was the only male in any of my classes for about 6 years straight, I think.
So
I
what you're
went to a
telling me is
very
they took
small
you
private
aside and gave you a
school.
vasectomy.
Then, no, then
And this is
Then
why
I
he's a wizard. He
then I
can't. He has
transferred
no
to a
other
public-
choice.
Then I transferred to a public school for a year, or half a year, and then I finished off my high schooling with online classes. So, short answer is no. I'll tell you what I did have in high school. The half a year I transferred to a public school, we had a skill or a class that was entitled Life Skills,
Oh my god.
and
Go on.
these life skills included things such as, I mean, I guess it had a little bit of everything in it. So kind of yes to your question, but these life skills, even though everybody in there was like sophomore and up, 16-year-olds, some older, we were taught amazingly useful skills such as how to mediate a disagreement, how to
I'm
respect
sorry.
your peers,
What?
how to
Look,
mediate
look.
an argument, how to respect your peers.
Look, I feel him because I had the same thing in my high school. And mind you, I went to high school in St. Louis, so even St. Louis County, it's a big high school. You know what they taught us as a life, what a required class was? I can't remember what the class name was, but they turned us how to balance a checkbook.
That's actually
What the hell?
useful.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
Sure.
No, it's not. It was 2008. We were done with checkbooks even then.
Yeah,
That's
but you
what I'm
can
saying.
use those skills to your bank accounts.
No,
I
you
learned
know why?
Very
Because
easily
my bank account-
transferable.
Dude, I
No,
learned how to
because
do
my bank
checks
account
in
is
middle
automated.
school. I learned how to do checks in middle school. They taught it again in life skills, but only for one assignment.
Thank you.
What the
Nana.
fuck?
But no,
Look.
it was one assignment, dude. We had one homework assignment where we had to balance a budget or checkbook, and I'm like, I already did this in middle school. But no, we were getting taught things like how to mediate. Oh, the best part, and I know
Who the
we're
fuck
delaying
mediates a
the
conversation?
no, wait, I gotta tell you this. I know we're delaying the game, but that's fine. Hang on, I have to tell you this story. In
That's
sophomore
fine.
year of high school, in life skills class, I had to be part of a team presentation about bullying. You want
What
to know
year was
what
this?
kind of bullying?
Oh,
This was a few years
Did
ago.
they make you watch
I think
Cyberbully?
this was.
Is the
I
question.
think this was probably no.
I
don't think so. It
remember
might have
that.
been out. I was probably.
God, I hated that movie.
I think this was 2016 or 2017. So it was pretty recent.
what the hell is going on in the background?
And I think it
bro?
got split into physical, verbal, and cyberbullying were the 3
Oh,
categories.
oh, that's hideous.
And we had to make a poster.
Are you fucking serious?
Nope,
Oh,
I
that's
want to die.
hilarious.
I don't know
We
if I
had
have
to
the
You had to
picture
make a
still.
poster about bullying?
I don't know if I have the picture
Oh,
still,
boy.
but I have never been the greatest artist, okay? We also had to do, I don't know why this was in life skills. I guess it doubled as health class, even though we had a health class.
Necro,
I
I
think it
love
was just
that
a filler
channel.
class. And by the way, this life skills class was like an hour and 15 minutes long.
Oh God.
We had to do,
Hold up, hold up.
different nutrients. We had to do different nutrients, right? We were assigned nutrients. 16 years old, sophomore. We had to do
Nutrients?
nutrients. I was assigned a protein, right? Protein. And
Yeah.
I had to
Do you
draw
know the number?
a mascot
Nah,
for protein.
don't pick it up.
I had to do. I'll see if I can find the picture. But I had to draw. We had to draw like mascots, like superhero mascots. It was like a really elementary, middle school type deal.
You
we had
mean
to
the
draw,
kind
like,
of shit they
superhero
would do for the
versions.
periodic table?
Yeah, but no, we were assigned. You had to pick like, okay,
What
my
you mean
thing
is
was
actual
protein.
nutrients.
Yeah, my thing
Ooh.
was like I got assigned protein, right? That was my thing. and I had to draw a mascot for protein, like draw a cartoon
Did you draw a
character.
camel?
I draw. I have a picture of it saved somewhere. I found it. Okay. I drew Muscles McGee. I've never
It
been the
sounds
greatest
like something
artist.
Kenji would draw.
I've never been the greatest artist, so I'm gonna try to find this picture. I will post this picture because I want you all to understand that this is what they had me doing for an hour and 15 minutes every single day as a nearly grown.
Was it like
man.
literally the fucking the Chad from the whole Virgin and Chad memes?
It's very
that you
close
drew?
to that. In fact, it is shockingly
All I'm
close to
saying
that.
is, I just remember in my health education class was like, they had drugs, and somehow, some way, I got alcohol, and so of course, being the asshole kid I was, the song I decided we had to find some kind of media that went along with it. So of course, I played "Beer" by Psycho Stick, which in the middle of the song
What?
just has them yelling, "Beer is good, beer is good, beer is good," and stuff. because because I understand alcoholism is a problem, but guess what? It's also funny. There's a you know what alcoholism in Ireland is? Just being Irish, all right?
It's a rite of passage.
I mean, can't argue with that.
all right, I found it. You guys are about to be blown away.
Protein.
His,
Oh.
his
Here's where
full
we find
title
out that
was
Kenji
I'ma
was
make
Muscles
this
actually
McGee, the
straight
big
up
man.
troll.
I'm gonna make this a new meme.
He had
Regardless.
super strength, super regeneration, and he could shift muscles around his butt. We had to come up with powers for him. Like, we had to make him superheroes. So I had to write out his
Why?
list of abilities, like quirks or something.
Why was
Because
this
it's a
a
health
high school
class.
project?
This was an hour and 15 long class.
Did you not hear that Kenji was born in the middle of nowhere?
All right, you ready, boys?
Let's do this.
This right
Kenji-
here is Muscles McGee. Let me.
Kenji lives where courage the shit
Cowardly
happens to
dog
courage.
lives in
All
the middle
right.
of nowhere.
Yeah, that's where Kenji
Wait,
lives.
where did
That's
this
all the
even-
stuff that happens to Kenji to Courage the Cowardly Dog is in Kenji's town.
Nowhere, Kansas. Got it.
Exactly.
Pretty much. It's shockingly close. I don't
I
even know
think
where
he
I
lives
put
in
it.
Ohio. No, he lives in
No.
Tennessee,
He
Very
lives in
close.
somewhere Tennessee. Okay.
Kentucky.
There you go, buddy.
Dude, just move. Just move. Just leave.
I
All
mean,
right.
it's easier said than done.
You say that.
Yeah. No, he's right. It's easier. It's very much easier said than done.
But she is inside the TV that you can have
All
on.
right.
Mr. Murphy, didn't you try to save your daughter? I'm a man. I tried to save. I turned the channel. The shit didn't work. I got the fuck out.
Who's watching a stand-up special?
That's a
Yeah,
great
I think he's
question.
watching the dude who was talking about how black people in horror movies don't work. I just remember it was like, yeah, because too bad we gotta
Oh
leave.
man, old school Eddie Murphy's great.
There you go, buddy. Check him out.
Oh,
Wow,
sweet
ooh.
What the
Jesus.
fuck is that?
That's a
Good lord.
steak with legs and arms.
Good lord, Kenji, you weren't lying.
Like-
You cannot draw
like-
worth a damn.
Look at that beautiful.
Like,
Kenji,
what are
why
those
does he
fucking
have an
legs?
egg
Like-
on his chest?
Huh?
I think
That's
that's
the
Protein,
bone.
bro.
That's the bone, buddy.
That's an egg. There's a yellow dot there.
No,
Nah, it's protein, bro.
check it out.
Yeah, that's a steak. Clearly,
what-
you know
what's with-
Mark's
what's with the
poor because he
arms
hasn't
and
had
legs?
steak in his life.
He
Are
has
those
muscles.
like, are those like the '80s fucking scrunchies? You know, like
No,
I don't know
those
what
are
the
his
fuck they
muscles.
are.
That's his
You know what
power.
that reminds me of?
Weren't you
know what that
listening?
reminds me of?
That's his
Oh,
third
I gotta
ability
find
is
this.
that he can shift his muscles at will.
I hope I can.
Why
find
does
this
he have
picture.
hair?
I'm
he
gonna tell you
shifted
what
his
that reminds
muscles
me
into
of.
a better place.
Now that's
I'm
a cursed image. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Hold on, that
God damn
reminds
it!
me
I
of.
should have saved that. Damn it!
You know what he looks like? You know
Hmm.
what he looked like? Let me go ahead and download this picture from this stupid Japanese thing. Like as soon as I saw those
Oh
muscles,
god, I
like,
think I know what you're talking about.
I know you know what I'm talking about. It's hilarious. Because as soon as I saw them, like, huh, that reminds me of this.
Yeah, I've seen that. I still
I
don't know
have
why.
not, but this is
That
accurate.
is a
rough.
cursed video right there.
That's cursed. Hey, you want to see something cursed?
We can't
Oh, we'll
destroy
play the
this
game.
again. It's already been destroyed twice.
There you go, buddy.
Oh god.
Oof.
Fuck.
Oof. Oof.
God
What do you
damn
have
it.
that stage for?
You can see the veins in his eyebrows.
There you go.
Damn it! Why didn't I save that?
Don't worry, I could send you a whole gallery of it if you want to. The guy has a whole gallery of him.
Why do you own these?
It's Kenji. That's the answer to that question.
It's not like Necro where he's got the 3 drives full of lolly pictures.
I have drives full of pictures in general and ebooks. That's my
Wait,
thing.
why does Necro have lolly pictures? That's weird.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Jesus
don't.
fucking why?
What the fuck is that?
What is this nightmare
Look.
horse?
Exactly. That's what comes up when I look up Nightmare Horse. I found that I was trying to look for pictures of a nightmare.
And
I was trying-
suddenly, we all forget about Necro's not lolly pictures. Awesome.
Let's go ahead.
Is that someone's Halloween costume?
Pumpkin Man? What the fuck is that?
How's that a pumpkin? What are
It's
you
a
talking?
fucking watermelon.
I
What
meant
the hell are you-
watermelon. I meant watermelon. I'm also I'm recovering from drinking, and I'm
No.
also retarded.
Let's not. I was about to say, I'm also recovering. I was like, nice save, buddy. Nice save. Nice save. Anyway,
No, it's not.
Jesus Christ.
we all share a common interest in that we play a tabletop game, so we should probably address that at some point.
Should I stop this and make this 30-minute video its own separate podcast?
You should probably wipe it from the archive.
Yeah, we should just make a
No, I'm
podcast
keeping
of us
this. This
talking
is
about
going
the
up.
dumbest things. Yeah, we should just make a podcast of us talking about the dumbest things in the world.
I put up like 1 hour of a thing we did once, but I started too late and missed too much.
Wait, what?
Yeah, without my consent?
I told
Yeah.
everyone the minute I.
Where's
this game
royalty
started.
there?
I'm suing you.
I demand
I probably
royalties.
wasn't. Honestly, I probably wasn't there. But
Probably weren't.
Flag and demonetize.
Alright, good luck with that. I make.
we're
no
not that important, Kenji.
Not with that attitude, we're not.
Alright, I'm gonna stop this and start a new recording for you then.